Lehocki Sports Media presents Hockey with Lehocki, starring your host, John Lehocki. Let's start by talking about the trade that has everybody's attention right now. Matt Duchene to the Ottawa Senators, Kyle Turris going to Nashville, lots of picks and prospects going to Colorado. We're going to have lots to discuss in the next few minutes. On top of this trade, we also had Kyle Turris signing a 6-year, $36 million extension with an average annual value of $6 million. This extension did not include a no-trade clause for the future. Kyle Turris would be an excellent fit on Nashville's second line, being right behind Ryan Johansson and then having Nick Bonino behind him. This really improves on their depth from last year's playoff run. Even though their record isn't the hottest to start the year, I feel like this could really affect them and make this a strong center core for many years to come, so they can repeat what they did last year and hopefully even do better. And now we're going to talk about the most important player in this trade, and that would be Matt Duchene. Matt was originally drafted 3rd overall in the 2009 entry draft and has played every game in his career for the Colorado Avalanche. What does Matt Duchene add to the Ottawa Senators is what everybody wants to know. What makes him better than Kyle Turris? In my personal opinion, Matt Duchene is a much more dynamic and versatile player. Matt Duchene can center the top line unlike Kyle Turris ever could have done. By acquiring Matt Duchene, who is a number one center, this would allow Bobby Ryan to have that number one center like he had back in Anaheim with Ryan Getzlaf to help reproduce the great numbers he had and show that he can still be a very strong and productive player on the ice. Matt Duchene will be wearing 95 on the ice when he makes his debut at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday against the Colorado Avalanche in Sweden. This will be a very highly anticipated debut, as his first 2 games will be back-to-back against the team he once played for. During practice, Matt Duchene was seen playing with Zach Smith and Mike Hoffman on the wing. This could be a potential line, but we all know with the Ottawa Senators that this could most likely change before game time on Friday. Let's start by talking about what Ottawa gave up to get Matt Duchene and bring him on the roster. We already know that Kyle Turris was traded to Nashville and was part of this, and now we're going to talk about Shane Bowers. Shane Bowers was selected 28th overall in 2017, which is last year's draft, and is currently playing for Boston University. I'd like to take this time to point out other notable players who were drafted 28th overall that show that Bowers does have a good chance to show a good potential. We're going to start with 2006 with Nick Foligno, 2010 with Charlie Coyle, 2012 Brady Shea, 2014 Josh Ho-Sang, but the most notable player on this list would be in 2003, when Corey Perry himself was drafted 28th overall. Another part of this trade was goaltender Andrew Hammond, who was traded from the Ottawa Senators to the Colorado Avalanche. Hammond definitely played his part in helping the Ottawa Senators, but unfortunately his time with them has come to an end as he is no longer needed, especially with the long-term signing of Mike Condon for an extra 3 years. This will leave Hammond as the 3rd-string goalie with the Colorado Avalanche, behind Semyon Varlamov and Jonathan Bernier. Should an injury occur to either of them, definitely expect Andrew Hammond to be on the bench for the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado also receives a 1st-round pick from the Ottawa Senators and a 3rd-round pick from the Ottawa Senators. The 1st-round pick is in 2018 unless the pick is in the top 10, then which Ottawa will retain the pick and Colorado will get the 2019 first-round pick regardless of where it is. Colorado also receives the 3rd-round pick from the Ottawa Senators in 2019. Colorado will also be receiving a 2nd-round pick from the Nashville Predators, along with defensive prospect Samuel Girard and left-wing prospect Vladislav Kamenev. I'd like to take this time to appreciate Joe Sakic and just analyze what he did and what he had to go through to make this trade work. He had a star player in Matt Duchene who was very adamant that he wanted out of the organization because he did not want to be a part of another rebuild. Joe Sakic was able to take his time and negotiate with many different GMs to find the best trade for his team. He ended up picking many good prospects for the Colorado Avalanche and getting some really good high draft picks for the team as well. The future does look very bright for Colorado in the next 4 or 5 years, but this is what they had to do in order to be able to have a potential for the next few years. Unfortunately, with the current roster they had now, they are not able to be contenders. The Nashville Predators were able to get what they needed, which is a very strong second-line center, and being able to lock up Turris at extension is huge because now they know they're going to have him for many years to come to be behind Ryan Johansson and to be a very solid number 2 center. And lastly, the Ottawa Senators got what they desperately needed since they lost Jason Spezza, which is a true number 1 center to center the top line. Derek Brassard is a very strong center, so is Jean-Gabriel Pageau, so was Kyle Turris, but neither one of them are able to be the true number 1 center this team needs to go forward and be a Stanley Cup contender. Could Duchene have been the difference between what happened in Ottawa last year in the playoffs? Only time will tell, and we'll see if Ottawa can recreate what they did last year and even go one step above to make the Cup finals. With Matt Duchene on the roster, anything is now possible. The team has a very good potential, and the team just got much better than what they were yesterday. Thank you for tuning in for the inaugural episode of Hockey with Lehocki. Stay tuned and follow the YouTube channel for future videos coming up related to the NHL.